Welcome all. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily. We got three up here now. We've got an A, B, C. Really have to go down to the lower time frames to see if there's any more upside or if it's going to turn down and break the low. There are a few other scenarios. We could get an A, a B, and a C in here, a flat, and then get the A, B, C here as well. A larger correction, and this one may turn motive, since this one here is quite choppy and hasn't reached that 100 fib yet either. So this still can be a B wave here. Have a look on the H4. There's really there's no signs of a reversal yet for it, to go down and break the low, and this is the end of the wave. C on the daily. Nothing to suggest that yet. We do have three down in here. Yeah. I mean, at this stage, you can only really sell with this trend here. We got three down. You could wait for a wave four and a wave five down. This doesn't look real motive here yet either. This wave three could get more downside in this wave three before we get that wave four. So yeah, not really much to, unless you're already in on this correction here to sell. You're pretty much staying out of it at this stage. AU on the daily, we're waiting for this time factor here over here. We're waiting for that wave four. Again, there's not really, I'd be expecting a correction in here, very similar size to this over here, and then we could look for a fifth wave down. Other than that, you see, there's really not much on it at this stage because we've already, I mean, if you're trading this, you got this impulse here and you sort of got the correction here to give you another one up. That's already happened. So you're not really buying in up here. GU on the daily, I am looking for more upside. Again, there's quite a few different scenarios here. We have three down in here. And so we can get an A, B, just a C up in here flat before we get, more downside. So it becomes, well, it's pretty much just scalping. Um, if you got some sort of a correction in here Monday, Tuesday, you could look for another one up in here. But you got to be careful. If it doesn't break this top, it may just like give you a correction in here. You get in and just breaks this top without breaking this top here, and it falls over and we get a bear hidden. So you need a nice corrective. You need a nice correction and a buy setup to buy, and there is no sell setup at this stage. We've got an impulse, so really waiting on the correction to see what side we're going to trade on. EU very similar to GU. Looking at this A, B, C here, and then we get an A, B, C. Still looks very corrective here. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more downside. So again, you'll have to be careful buying at this stage. NU daily, we had those three up here. a long time ago. It didn't quite get to that 100 fib. We had an impulse down. We were looking for a correction for another one down. We've got that now. So now we have 3 down. Again, this looks very, I mean, this is a bear hidden here. We're getting a bear hidden divergence here. So, again, you have to be very careful buying because this can just come down and break the low, and then we look for a buy. Until that happens, it's risky buying. Yeah. GY, we got that 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for this wave 4 and trade a wave 5 up. It's really sitting in. We had that impulse down over here from the top, and we're still within that. It's getting very corrective. All this is corrective, so I'm looking for another one down. So I'm really only looking for sells, but it's just not giving us those sell setups. If we go down to the lower time frames, we may get something here. Then 15, we got a nice impulse down. So if we look at this as a correction and we look for a sell setup, we can, look for a sell to go and break that low. There is no nice setup on it at this stage. That's the problem. Even on the real lower time frames, there's no sell setup. But you could watch it, and if you do get a sell setup, you could look for at least 3 down. A, B, C, trade that C down. UY, we got the 5 up. And this one here, we can look for a sell. Well, again, this is quite dangerous as well because we haven't broken these lows over here. So we have that possible bull hidden there. So again, you got to be you got to get a nice entries to sell, or it'll just go up and break the top and take you out. But at this stage, you're definitely looking for a sell setup. We could look at this as like A, B, C here, and then you get an A, a B, and we're getting that C up now. So any sell setup you get, you definitely could look for it. You just have to be mindful that you just get that 3 down. If I quickly go back there, just got to be mindful. If you get the sell, as soon as it sees lows, you have to get it to break even because of that bull hidden on the H4. It may just give you like 3 down here and then go up and break the top. USD CAD, we got the 5 up here on the H4. We got that, very extended wave 5. So I'm just looking for a correction in here. Larger than these corrections over here. And then I'd look for another 5 up, like 5, 3, 5. Pretty much waiting for a correction. It's probably too early to get in here. That's the problem. We're looking for a larger correction, so the time factor's not here for this. It's looking very corrective for upside. So, but yeah, you got to be very careful. Now we're right at the end of the wave 5. You don't want to be buying up the top of the end of a wave 5. USD Swiss franc. This could be a B wave too. Like we could get like an A, a B, and a C down in here flat before we get more upside. So there is a couple of different scenarios of this too. We got the 5 up now. If you remember, we got the 5 up in here. We lost all the divergence. So again, I'm just looking for a larger correction in here. and then you could look to buy for another 5 up. But until we get that larger correction, as you can see on the H1, it's pretty much bearish. We've got 3 down here with no bullish divergence, so it's still very much bearish. Probably get a wave 4, and you could trade a wave 5 down. Just got to be careful if it goes into this territory of this wave 2. Yeah. EG, I've been mentioning pretty much just keeping out of this because it could go either way. And it fell over during the week. I mean, I'd still be looking for buys, like some sort of an A. Like, all this is a B. We get a C up, like an A, B, C flat, before we get, more downside. But yeah, I'd be pretty much leaving it alone. I mean, you could scalp it on the lower time frames. Look for some sort of a bear hidden or something in here on the lower time frames to scalp. But yeah, WTI, like I mentioned last week, until this low here is broken, I'm still bullish on the daily on this. Still very much bullish. We have a possible bull hidden there. So we're just waiting for this lower time frames to finish. And like I've gone over quite a few times now, looking at a possible extended wave in this wave 3 before we get that wave 4. So either way, I'm looking for buys. It didn't give us any buys last week. We may get something this week. And pretty much if you're buying, you're just buying into this correction. But yeah, you can't sell. You can't sell down here. Unless you're scalping right on the lower time frames, but even that gets risky when you're at the end of a wave 3, when you possibly at the end of a wave 3. So yeah, we wait for this wave 4 and trade a wave 5 down. Gold, we got this A, B, C here, and we have that bull hidden there, possible bull hidden there too. So looking for buys. It's pretty much playing out where my arrow is. But this is very similar to WTI too. Like, we got a possible 5. Well, this one actually, we already had the 5 down, the extended wave 3. So we're getting that wave 4 now, this 1, 2, 3, 4 now to sell for that wave 5. We are getting a possible bear hidden in here as well. So if you're buying, be careful. I'm still expecting a little bit more downside, a 5th wave down before we do actually go. You can see how choppy this is. Well, this is the low here, and you can see it's quite choppy. Still looks very much bullish on the lower time frame, so you could scalp it, but yeah, you're possibly scalping into a wave 4, so you'd have to be careful with that. Silver's very, very similar to gold on the daily, and on the H4 as well. We've got the 5 down here, as we've already got the 5 down here. This is, the only way we can look for a reversal is if this top here is broken and we get a nice impulse up and a correction. Then we could look for upside with more confidence. Until that happens, we could get a bear hidden here. We could get a bear hidden in here, and another one down yet. On the lower time frames, this was really choppy. Like, this looks corrective to me. So yeah, it's very difficult buying into something that looks very choppy. Like, it's very choppy here. So, you got to be very careful buying. You go down to the lower time frames, and you're starting to look at like a lot of bearish divergence. So you got to be very careful. Bitcoin, we do have the 5 down here now. And we do have the bullish divergence as well. So, like I said last week, any buy you get, you look for the buy. So we did get a low last week, and well, a couple of weeks ago, but we got a nice impulse up. So we just wait for a correction. If you look at the H1, we can look at this as your impulse. If we get a correction, you definitely can look to buy, and this will be the opportunity to get into a buy. If you miss this, well, you could be out of the game for a long time, because this may be the low here and we go up and break the top for the daily. We got this 5, getting this 3, and we get another 5 up here. So if you can get into trades down here, this is where we're looking to buy. You're not looking to sell down the low here. You're looking to buy to go and break the top, possibly break the top. Like, we don't know that this is all over yet, but this is when you start to load up, when you start to get these buy setups. Well, we don't have the buy setup yet. You got to wait for a nice correction and then look for the buy setup. So we'll see what happens, but ideally we get a nice correction here to buy. S&P 500 right up the top, pretty much staying out of this, pretty much staying out of this. Like, this could be like an A, B, C, go up and break the top, or it could be like an A, a B, and a C down in here before you get an A, B, C, a flat. There's just so many different options here. I'd be keeping out of it. You're right up the top of the market. Anything could happen here. We did have a nice impulse down here, but it's gone straight back up. So may just get 3 down there, and may turn into some sort of a flat, and we get an A, B, C in here, then an A, a B, a C, a flat before we get more upside. So yeah, there is a few different scenarios here. You're just scalping, really. AU 200, go over this quickly. I'm looking for this one to break the top, like at least give us 3 up, but at least break this top. But ideally it goes up and breaks all the tops, and we get that A, B, C. I mean, any buy setup you get, you're pretty much looking for a buy. It is quite choppy though. It had a rather large impulse down here with a bull hidden. It's already gone and broken the top, but we didn't get any bearish divergence after that. So if we get 3 down in here and then a bullish setup, you could look to buy. Because I mean, you're too late for the sell into this C down. So if you're looking for a sell, you pretty much have to wait for this, like 1, 2, 3, and then wait for a wave 4, and then trade a wave 5 down. So pretty much at this stage, really only looking for a buy, but there is no buy set up on it. The FTSE, I'd just be looking at, like, so we got an A, getting a B, got a B and looking for a C up here, and then we get an A, B, C, larger flat before we get, more upside. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much to do on this either. It's just about breaking these tops over here. So yeah. The DAX has gone up and broken the top. You know, looking at this possible A, B, C. Well, we were looking at this like A, B, C here, and it went up and broke the top. And then come back down again, and we was looking at this possible larger flat there, and that's gone up and broken the top too. So I mean, you're not really doing anything now. You could go down onto the lower time frames and look for buys going with this trend, but as you can see, this is very choppy. You know, it's very choppy. So you got to be careful. So I hope you got something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.